Welcome back to Talking Lead. This is episode 16. We're finally back at the Talking Lead studio. How's it going, Left Hand?
It's going good, man. Recovering from the beauty contest.
I know. That was a heck of an
doozy,
ordeal.
wasn't it?
It was fun, though. We had an AR-15 beauty contest, if y'all hadn't listened to that yet. I had the winner, Artisan Tony, with his Woody AR.
The Woody.
It's pretty cool. It was an AR with a wood.
He's got have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen
Is he telling you about
pictures,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Very, very cool.
It's just unique. He had a cool, unique factor to it.
So what all did you do gun-wise this week?
Stymied again, man. I mean, I've just been covered up with my real job, and other than online shopping and looking around, and
This needs to become our real job.
I assure you that you need to get away from those real jobs.
I did make some rounds today to some shops just to kind of see what's around and what's in stock. Finally found some 380 ammo. I picked it up at where was it? Academy. That's where it was. They had quite a bit. Academy in Franklin there had quite a bit of 380 in. But of course, they only limit you to one box. So one box at a time is how I'm going to stock up.
Nice.
How I'm trying to stock up for this man's class. It's one box at a time.
That's why we had to skip the first one.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a little bit later.
What about you? What did you get into this week?
I have been shotgun hunting. Got a birthday coming up.
Shotgun.
Birthday coming up tomorrow, actually. And
really,
I'm harping on. Hey, this is the one I like. This is the one I'm going to try to get.
Your birthday coming up?
Yeah, we won't tell anybody though. I'm turning 27.
Whatever.
37. Yes, really fun. But yeah, I'm looking
you
at.
Caught me yet.
I'm looking at the Benelli Vinci right now. That thing is nice.
What do you want it for?
Nice. Hunting competition.
Oh, hunting. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I wanted to get into the 3-gun competition, so I'm looking at that one. And then I thought, well, for that amount, I can get the Remington semi-auto and get a deer rifle and get another Glock.
That's all in
For
what
the
your
price.
priorities are.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, whenever somebody says a gun that I don't know what it is, I just assume it's a hunting gun.
just automatically throw it in that category. It's hunting gun. So it's a Benelli what?
Vinci. There's a
Benelli
Super Vinci and a Vinci. There's not a whole lot of difference, but the Super Vinci could shoot 3.5 to where the Vinci's just 3. And I'm not going to be doing any goose hunting, so probably just stick with the Vinci.
Is that what they use in the competitions too? Is that?
Yeah. You don't want to use 3.5 in competition.
Well, I know they limit you, and depends on what competition it is too.
Yeah. If you don't recognize the other voice that we have here, we have a gentleman here with us, James Yeager. How's it going, James?
Great, man. Thanks for
You want us to call
having
you
me.
James or Yeager?
Everybody, I don't know. People migrate one way or the other. My wife calls me Yeager, so people are kind of weirded out by that. But I don't really care.
I think she was with you at that thing in
The rally.
The rally that we went, and she was calling. I thought she was just one of your groupies.
Well, my groupies are usually 50-year-old fat dudes or 14-year-old Filipino chicks. They're usually not any attractive ladies that that want to get their picture with me.
Well,
So we see the attractive lady with you, it's your wife.
What's that?
When we see the attractive lady with you, it's your wife.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Or I'm in trouble.
Well, we need to keep our mouth shut, right?
So what'd you do with guns this week?
Man,
Probably a lot.
well, I mean, it's what I do. I help people design stuff. I help people prototype stuff. This week, nothing particularly exciting. I got some new holsters in from De La Rosa, a guy in Clarksville that he was actually at the rally too. That David De La Rosa makes some holsters, and got some stuff for M&P from him, and playing with it and some other stuff, and we just moved into our new building, so I'm still unpacking stuff, and it's just been busy last couple of weeks.
Did I just hear you say got some for an M&P?
Yeah.
That not a Glock 19?
No, not a Glock 19.
Really?
And I know that freaks people out, but when people give me guns, I tend to take them. And Smith & Wesson sent me this M&P. It's got from the factory 2 barrels. One's threaded for a suppressor, and I got my little shield. I don't know if any folks watch my YouTube stuff, but I got that little shield now with nearly 10,000 rounds through it, and it's just running like a champ. But I'm just glad that there's finally a American-made pistol that I can tell people they can buy and trust their life to.
Nice.
And when Smith & Wesson makes a Glock 19 size pistol, then I will not be a Glock guy
Convert.
anymore.
Cool.
Smith & Wesson, if you heard that,
Oh, trust me, they've heard it from me.
Oh, I'm sure they heard from a lot of people. Obviously, the demand is there for a gun like that.
Well, I mean, Glock 19 is the most popular handgun in the world because of its size. So, I say it all the time, small enough to carry, big enough to fight with. And if Smith can get something into that niche, I'm telling you, the Glock's days are numbered.
Something out of the ordinary other than, you switching to the Smith & Wesson, you're opening up a new shop. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we just moved. We didn't. It's it's a new place,
new location.
It's our it's our fourth location in since we've been in business in '96, and it's a huge old industrial building. It was like a plumbing supply and building supply. It's a huge building, and of course on the business office sides where we got our retail shop and our classroom and offices and stuff like that. But we have a huge area that we're building a force-on-force training center in, putting up walls and facades and all kinds of stuff, and getting it ready to go. It's going to be really exciting.
What's the force-on-force training?
Basically, force-on-force is where we use real guns that are modified to only fire a paint marking round, and I use the force-on-force round made by ATK or Federal Ammunition. If you can go to forceonforce.com to see the round. But people typically they say sims training or simunition training. That's potentially dangerous, and what I mean by that, if you just take a box that says simunition and jam it into a magazine and start shooting at your buddies, they also make lethal rounds. So if you're going to talk about simunitions, the paint marking round is called the FX round, the simunition FX round. So I just want to, for anybody out there listening, I just understand.
It's completely different than simunition.
Well, no, simunition is the company. FX is the exact round. It's kind of like, the Federal makes this 5.56 round, and Federal also makes this other 5.56 round. It's like that. It's just it's one of their products.
This is like their lipstick round,
right? And I use the Federal version of that, which I think is superior, and that's what we use in pistols and rifles.
So it's the exact same round. You use it in your Glock.
No. We have
Glock, a special gun.
Yeah, Glock 17Ts. They're the blue Glocks. If you've ever seen the pictures of the blue Glocks, and they only fire the training rounds. They will not fire live ammunition.
So you don't have to worry about anybody mixing it up.
You still have people coming in that still have a live gun on. You have to be constantly aware of it. You hear that all the time with police departments, and typically somebody gets shot right after lunch. So they do the pat down in the morning and everybody's clear. They go to lunch, everybody puts their heaters back on, goes to lunch, comes back,
pat them down again.
But they don't do the pat down again, and then somebody shoots somebody, and it happens pretty frequently. And we just never want that to happen.
We'll get a little bit more into your training here in a minute. We'll go into our jackwagon train for the week. It's going to be a long jackwagon train this week.
We've got a full train this week, man.
I mean, they've got their own train
as of
this
today.
Week. Yeah. If you haven't heard already, we've got a multiple jackwagoneer train this week. There were 16 supposedly pro-Second Amendment senators that flip-flopped today and sided with anti-gunners. And we're going to name every single one of them. And if they are in your state, you need to contact them and tell them you're not happy with what they've done.
And they're jackwagons.
Send them an email calling them a jackwagon. That's awesome.
Excellent.
First one is Lindsey Graham from South Carolina.
You can give their phone numbers?
Yeah, let's give their phone numbers too.
202-224-5972.
We got Lamar Alexander from Tennessee.
Jackwagon, 202-224-4944.
That's our home state, and that shocks me. Lamar Alexander.
Both of our
If you're out of Tennessee, he's the senator you always see wearing a red plaid shirt, and he's all pro-gun, and he flip-flopped on this. So, did you give his phone number? Yeah.
Let's give it again. 202-224-4944. Lamar Alexander.
We got Kelly Ayotte from New Hampshire.
202-224-3324.
Richard Burr, North Carolina.
202-224-3154.
Saxby Chambliss from Georgia.
202-224-3521.
John McCain, Arizona.
I'm going to skip the first four because they're the same for everybody.
Okay.
So I'll give their last four digits.
That'll work. John
McCain, jackwagon, is 2235. Yep.
Tom Coburn from Oklahoma.
He's 5754.
Susan Collins from, what's it, ME? Maine?
Maryland.
Is it Maine?
Massachusetts.
No, that's MS.
I'm going with Maine.
I think it's Maine.
It's 2 votes for Maine.
Me. Anyway. You can call her directly and ask her at
She's from her own
2523, but she's a jackwagon too.
Bob Corker, another Tennessean.
Huge
What the heck?
jackwagon. Loser jackwagon. 224-3344.
Jeff Flake. That name right there
Says
is
it
the
all.
epitome of what's going on here. He's from Arizona too. Jeff Flake.
4521.
John Hoven, North Dakota.
2551.
Johnny Isaacson, Georgia.
3643.
Dean Heller, Nevada.
6244.
Mark Kirk, Illinois. Well, that's not a shocker.
2854.
Pat Toomey, Pennsylvania. And he was
4254.
he was one of the ones that was so vocal. This is not going through. I'm going to do the filibuster with Ron Paul.
He's a
And
flipper.
he just flipped. And then the last one, Roger Wicker from Mississippi.
6253.
If you live in those districts,
What was that, 16?
give them a call. Let them know they're jackwagons.
That's a full train.
Tell them to come on and listen to our show and hear what we had to say about them. So
Well,
that's
better yet, put on your calendar to make sure that you campaign actively against them.
yes. When it comes time for
And
reelection,
that's the only
They don't
way
get it.
that they're going to get the message.
Well, the thing I get with folks is they don't volunteer to help campaign. They won't donate money. They just, I'm going to go vote. Well, that's part of it, and put some money somewhere.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Away from them.
definitely.
Keep it out of their pockets.
So welcome to the jackwagon train, guys. We'll be honest with you, Yeager. Well, I will.
Oh, nice.
Left Hand and I had a little back and forth with this. Back when you had that little video that a lot of people heard about, we may not go into detail, but it was a little controversial.
Yeah.
Got
Stirred a few pots.
Basically,
And that's not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing.
it was one of those things where when it happened, we'd already scheduled an interview with you, and I was kind of like, oh my god, you got to be kidding
He's
me.
going to prison
Well,
now.
we're like,
Yeah,
okay, we can reschedule him.
Yeah, it was just kind of like,
We got to get somebody to fill his spot.
what is this garbage? And then it got heated and more heated, and then all of a sudden they took the state did it, right? They took your handgun carry permit away. Then we had to cancel the interview, and for a minute there I was like, whew. we dodged that bullet. And then,
Well, come on now. I mean,
Left
really?
Hand. Yeah, but then we met you. We met you at one of the Second Amendment rallies.
I mean, but did he say anything that none of us weren't thinking? Seriously.
Here's the
This
thing.
is going to go on the internet.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. People can
have improper thoughts all the time. I'm not saying that what he said was proper.
So basically,
it's not what anybody else wasn't thinking.
My big question,
in a roundabout way.
My big question was, what the hell were you thinking?
Here's the thing: a lot of people that didn't like what I had to say told me I needed to calm down, and gun guys will appreciate this. If you're a gun guy, you've seen the movie Boondock Saints.
Oh yeah,
and you may remember the
1 and 2.
You might remember the scene where Rocco, from 1, goes into the diner and kills those guys, and he comes back to the apartment. He's all freaking out, and we gotta get out of here and all that stuff. And they were telling him to calm down. He
Killing the cat.
He said, they said, you need to calm down, Rocco. And he said, you need to start getting effing excited. And that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I think it's time. I think it's time for us to yell. Maybe not say the things I said, but I think it's time for us to be mad. I think it's time for us to yell, and I think it's time to get excited.
So was it one of those moments where the brain to mouth filter just kind of went?
Well,
there's no doubt it was emotion.
It's like
it was
this.
emotion.
It was a knee-jerk reaction.
I was really, really mad, and certainly, if I could do it all over again, I might change what I said. But the thing is, the unintended consequence from that video was I got floods of emails and letters, like on paper letters from high school and college kids saying they played your video in our constitutional law class and we've talked about it for 4 days. So I believe that. And that video is played all over the world, on a lot of news agencies. And I believe it sparked a discussion in this country. Even though it was a very negative video, it sparked a discussion in this country. I mean, people were talking about it in diners and saying, okay, what are we going to do? What is going to happen?
Obviously, they're talking about it in schools as well.
So,
it got a message out there that,
or at least it began
people
a discussion.
Have been trying to avoid, but by you, whether it was intentional or unintentional, or I'm sure it was inadvertent. Like you said, if you had to do over again, you'd probably do it a little differently. But it got people thinking.
Right. talking.
And talking, right. And when people start thinking, then they start talking, and that's how things get resolved.
What's probably the biggest thing you've taken from this experience?
I have a First Amendment right to say whatever I want. I just need to watch my mouth.
Of course, it's been a while since I've seen the video, but from what I recall, it was the way that you worded, if somebody comes after your guns, tries to, impede on your Second Amendment right, then you would protect yourself and your rights, and you would kill them. You would shoot them.
Right.
You weren't directing it at anyone. You're not saying, I'm going to go out and shoot and kill
this individual,
and there was
this individual or these people. It's like if they come and they invade my territory, then I have a right to defend myself.
There was also a prefix if it goes any further.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't care if people agree with me.
But again, it's the First Amendment right. You have a right as long as it's not.
At no point in time did I stand behind the First Amendment. At no point in time did I say it was my right to say that. Never. Because I understand that I did run into a theater and I did yell fire. So not once have I ever stood behind the First Amendment. I realize what I did.
At the same time, you look at these gun grabbers and these liberals, they're hypocritical. Because anytime that anything's said along these lines that's not, in their realm, then they're bashing, they're name-calling. I mean, if you look at the Piers Morgan video, the one that said this will be the end of Piers Morgan, what does he say with his microphone? He goes, I wish that, I'd replace all the microphones with
replace the
M16,
buzzers.
the buzzers with M16, and shoot all of them and kill all of them.
Mow them all down.
Yeah. Did anything come of that? Did they go try to revoke his press pass? Because he said that? No, they didn't. So it's a double standard that they've got. And, it's ridiculous.
I think I'm just scary, and that's why they took it seriously.
It's the goatee, man.
It's the goatee.
It's the goatee. Yeah.
See, if you had hair, clean shaven, and no tats,
like a mullet,
I'd be like, he's like Piers Morgan.
And I'm sure that had a lot to do with it also, is you had the scary, I'm pulling up the quotes here, the scary appearance. But
I think it's funny, too, because I've the last couple of years, 2 times I've been picked for strong arm robberies.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Last year, coming out of the NRA convention, a guy tried to mug me.
They picked you. They
picked you out of a crowd to be mugged.
They said, that guy. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Apparently, they wanted to test themselves. That's what it was.
I think
they weren't looking for easy targets.
I think, and my wife, I'm a magnet for bad things, and my wife's been with me, for 20-something years, and so she understands it. So now when stuff like that happens, it doesn't even faze her. It's like, why does this stuff keep happening? She used to say all the time. Now she's just like, whatever.
Yeah. I'll say this too. Through all that, the chaos that ensued afterwards, we met you at the Second Amendment rally, and we've got close friends that know you and that are close friends with you also, and they've told us, he's a humble guy, he's a nice guy, he just, said the wrong thing, and he knows he said the wrong thing. And when we met you, I was like, you know what? He really is a nice guy.
It's not even that you said it; it's you recorded it and put it on YouTube.
Press,
record. And
I don't think I said anything wrong. I just think I said it the wrong place.
Yeah, you posted it to the wrong place. But even then, it's obvious you knew that you shouldn't have done it because you tried to retract it,
right.
And then all these jackwagons that bootleg and repost stuff.
Yeah, because you edited it, but it had already got
within 40 minutes.
Wow. And somebody had already snagged it.
Right. Well, I mean, you can expect that.
What do you think the best thing for you that has come out of that?
The best thing is I've become a pariah. I am hated now by the left and the right. And that's
the best thing.
And that's where I like being.
You're an outcast.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm one of those people that I really and truly don't care if people like me, and if that video, I call that video a friend defining opportunity, because I found out who my friends were. They're instructors like Pincus and Marty Hayes and guys like that said, hey, maybe I wouldn't have said it that way, but I'm sticking by my friend. And then there are other trainers who I won't name that abandoned me, and so I think it was. I really appreciate that. Now I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it does take situations like this to make your friends either come out of the woodwork or go crawling back into the hole.
Well, for a fact that we didn't abandon you because of that, because we kept trying to get you
Right.
to get in touch with us and get on the show.
It was,
even after that.
guys, it was just such a chaotic time for me. I mean, I wish I could have been here sooner, but I'm glad I'm here
Well, we
now.
we understood what was going on, too.
Right.
One thing I want to mention, I mentioned it in one of our other shows, and it was around the time that video happened. It's kind of my philosophy on the whole thing, and not necessarily now that I've met you. I mean, I have a whole different outlook on it. Mm-hmm. But the analogy I used was, if you're on a basketball team, there's not going to be 15 guys on that team that you love and you want to hang out with every day, but you're on a team. And if, like this situation, we're in a Second Amendment battle, right. I mean, we literally are. And every now and then, one of those guys throws up a brick. And you're going to be like, oh, my God, why I can't believe you stupid idiot. I hate you, blah, blah, blah. But he's still on your team. You can't do that. You've got to embrace him and say, okay, we've all got a common goal, and we're going to go forward with that goal. And so that's kind of the viewpoint I take with it. I mean,
I like that. I like that viewpoint. And, if that teammate's throwing a brick every time, then he shouldn't be on the team.
Right.
But you got to give a guy a brick every once in a while.
Exactly. I've shot many air balls in my time, and I've been cussed at by many of my teammates. But they embrace me, and we take off, and we keep going. We win the game, and that's the way. If there's people out there that are hearing you on the show, and they're thinking, I can't believe they brought James Yeager on the show. No, he's part of the team. He's pro Second Amendment. He's pro gun. You may not agree with everything he says or has said, but you need to embrace every single person that's in this battle with us.
Well, if we look at the last revolution, the guy that kept standing up going, who else we need to kill, was Samuel Adams. They couldn't shut that guy up.
And he ended up making awesome beer.
And then if I drank, I would drink his beer. But there has to be, everybody's like, you got to stay quiet. I disagree. I mean, what if Paul Revere would have stayed quiet?
Sure.
I believe that people need to say stuff. Maybe not like I said it, but we have to talk. We have to communicate, and we have to share ideas and messages. And the only way you can do that is by talking.
Most definitely. Now for the fun stuff. So the first basic question, how'd you get into guns?
Grew up in rural Tennessee. I get asked this a lot. I don't remember the first time I shot a gun. It was such an early thing for me. I don't remember the first time. But
now, did your granddad didn't come to you as a baby and put your finger on it?
Wait till I release that video.
And I'll edit that out if you don't want people to know that.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay.
And I remember my grandfather was one of those guys that could just shoot, lighting match heads with a .22 rifle. That's the watermark I had to meet. but yeah, that's
low expectations, right?
Right. But yeah, that's I don't remember the first time or the first gun or anything like that.
What was the first gun that you, as an adult, purchased?
Oh, that's an easy one. Ruger P85 Mark II. This was in 1988, and I was like, I want to buy a handgun, a centerfire handgun. I had .22s. I want to buy a centerfire handgun. I'm an adult now. What should I get? There wasn't the internet at that time, so I went to a magazine stand. I bought a gun magazine. On the cover, greatest gun ever made, Ruger P85 Mark II. Promptly bought one. I didn't realize that every month there's a new
featured gun.
But what's funny is I still have that gun. I started shooting IPSC with that gun, and I got up to B class in IPSC with that Ruger P85. And people go, you did not. But yes, I got up to B class and
sweet
in IPSC with it. But I still have it. It still works.
It would be awesome if you still had that magazine too.
You know what? That would be great.
That would be sweet.
We won't tell them that my first gun. I didn't. My first gun was a Lorson 380.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, Party Marty's. That's Party Marty's.
Yeah. The second question: any law enforcement and military experience?
Well, I was a cop for 10 years. Started in 1992. From 92 to 96, I worked undercover. And I was already shooting, like I said, IPSC and stuff then. And it's funny because people ask me, like, hey, when did you meet your wife or whatever? I go, I met her when I was working undercover. And then I just keep talking about something else. It wasn't on the job, but I just let people's imagination kind of wander with that. But anyway, so I was already a shooter. And so when I became a cop, I could take all these cop classes, SWAT schools and all these shooting schools and stuff like that. And so I just kept training, and then I did that for 4 years. And then in 96, I got out of doing undercover work and went in patrol. That's when I started teaching carry permits, and that was the beginning of tactical response.
Oh, wow.
And so I did SWAT team leader and all that stuff, and I policed till 2002. And then as far as military, no military, quasi military, I was a security contractor in Iraq, 2004 to 2005, protecting the 8 Iraqi election commissioners before, during, and just after the election in Iraq. And that was a really historic thing to be a part of. And I don't know how all that mess is going to turn out over there, but I was glad to be a part of it, that first election.
And you were police chief at one point, right?
Yeah, police chief in Big Sandy. I was a deputy later on. I was a police chief for about 8 minutes, probably. I didn't realize that people didn't really want police. They just wanted to be seen and not heard.
What about contractor work? You still do any of that?
Nothing in Iraq. I do get offers in Central and South America from time to time. Actually, got one this afternoon to go down to a place south of the border and get proof of life on a kidnapped American.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if I'll be able to do that or not. But yeah, I still entertain the idea.
And can I go with you on your next mission?
That's fine with me. You got a passport?
Take his glasses first.
You'll need a El Pasporto.
El Passport, that's easy to get, right?
Now, you train contractors too, right?
Oh yeah. That's some of our most popular classes, is the contractor training classes. And it's funny, about a third of the guys are current or police or military that are looking to retire and go into contracting. About a third of them are former police and military that are current contractors, but maybe they're home on leave or they're between contracts and want to stay sharp. And about a third of them are civilians that never want to contract, but they see the classes and they look like fun, and they've done it. They've done everything else,
right?
And so they come
adrenaline junkies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you train, and like what's the next high?
I don't know anybody that would want to do that.
I don't know any two people that are sitting in this room.
This guy.
Well, it's a date whenever you guys get ready.
Yeah, we're coming to the.
I think we got it booked already.
We got fighting pistol booked. You got to take that one first.
We don't actually set anything on fire or blow anything up in fighting pistol.
No, gotcha.
So we tone that down.
That's your starting level.
That'll be a good acclamation for us, right?
Yeah. If you were going to say, "Hey, I want to take one class from you," what should it be? I'm never going to take another class. I'd say fighting pistol.
Another question we ask of every guest: music video, movie,
pop culture.
Okay,
video game.
Best video ever made, and I will fight anybody that disagrees with me, is Beastie Boys Sabotage.
It's got guns in it.
I will fist fight anybody right now.
It's one of my favorite groups. I love the Beastie Boys.
I like rock and rap. I'm a child of the '80s, and I mean everything. Soundgarden, and
I'm a metalhead.
Oh yeah,
I'm like the heavier the better.
No, I don't do so much that. I mean, I listen to some heavy metal. I'm a big AC/DC fan and stuff like that. But I listen to a lot of pop music. I listen to some rap. I listen to rock. I mean, pretty much anything but country.
There's some good country music.
No, the country music died a horrible death the day that Garth Brooks released his first album. And it's funny because the best country song in 20 years was by Aaron Lewis. Country Boy by Aaron Lewis, and he's a rock and roll guy.
Oh yeah, from Stained.
Yeah.
See, I know that one because it's Stained.
Right.
So what about movies?
Everything. I'm a movie nut. My wife and I go to the movies a lot. We really enjoy that. And
what's your favorite go-to movie?
It has guns in it. It's got
better than
it
that.
Don't have to involve guns.
No. Listen, better than that. My wife and my Christmas movie is Die Hard.
There you go.
We watch it every Christmas.
Perfect.
It is.
But think about how many action movies happen at Christmas. Die Hard 1 and 2, Lethal Weapon happens at Christmas. Yeah. Long Kiss Goodnight. That's a sleeper that a lot of people haven't seen with Gina Davis. Great movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that one.
But there's a
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, a lot of Christmas action movies that people don't think about. But
Reindeer Games.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Yeah.
It was all right.
But we watch those every year. But what was the question?
Your favorite,
you answered it.
Favorite movie with guns.
Okay, go ahead and give us your favorite one. What's your favorite?
That's I don't know.
You get into the old westerns?
Yeah, I like a lot of the old westerns. Probably my favorite movie, period, is Seven Samurai, Kurosawa movie. And if you haven't seen Seven Samurai, you got to see it. But The Magnificent Seven was the cowboy version,
based off of it.
And so it's my favorite western because
Yul Brynner.
Yeah. So it's
you kind of look like Yul Brynner.
Well, I look like every other bald white dude
with the tattoos. All right, so I got to ask because a lot of our listeners are into The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
You get into that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Me and my wife are addicts, and we really enjoy that show.
Did you see the season
I've seen
finale?
I've seen them all.
All right, so give me your take on the season finale. Let's hear what your take is.
That's where Merle is zombified. Okay.
Exactly. Daryl has to.
No, that's the one before it.
Wait a minute.
Second to last one. Yeah, because Merle gets killed.
Oh yeah,
the
attack was the last one.
That's right.
The attack was the last one. That's right. I don't know. I mean, I thought they were leaving the compound, and so that surprise attack on the opposers there.
Weren't you a little let down though in the because I mean they're building up to like this huge battle, you know,
right.
And, it was,
and then it's just kind of like.
Right, yeah.
That's the way I felt. Well, since we're on movies, we were going to review Zero Dark 30. Did you watch it?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It was painful.
Ah, man, I enjoyed it.
It was painful.
I liked the whole time, because the story came out before the movie, and you knew the story, it was kind of like, okay, all right. Okay, when are they getting to the house? When are they getting to the house?
I thought it was very interesting, you know, everything that led up to it. Mm-hmm. But it was just because, you know, I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking Zero Dark 30, I'm thinking this big raid on Osama, and, you know, I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of action throughout the whole movie. You know, so at each turn, I'm like waiting for something to happen. And you know how you get that adrenaline high, and then when you come down off of it, you're just like, you're just like.
It was very realistic though,
especially
when the SEALs and the chick meet for the first time, and she says, "I didn't even want you guys with your gear and your Velcro and your dip."
I liked it. I liked the chick, man. I mean, she was a little spitfire, and if that was the way the real chick was,
I'm sure.
Then, I mean, she's like one of my favorite people, but. I don't know. It wasn't what I was expecting.
I told folks, I said, if you're looking for an action movie, don't go. I said it's a suspenseful movie leading up to the final scenes. But I said if you're looking for some shoot 'em up, it's not it.
Or fast forward to the last 15 minutes. Just do that.
Well, and that sucked because, and I don't know if it was just my TV, but it was so dark I couldn't see anything.
Right.
You know, until I was like, why don't they just do the whole thing with the night vision?
Right.
You know, but no, they just switched back and forth from the night vision, and I was like,
I'll tell you the one that kind of dropped me, where I was like, oh, here it comes. They didn't show Bin Laden. At least they could have got an actor that looked like him. They just kind of showed a beard real quick, and then that was it. And I'm like, really?
Yeah. Well, they didn't
give us the satisfaction of thinking there's.
They didn't want to inflame anyone, you know.
A couple of things about the raid scenes that were pretty accurate was that you could see the IR lasers crossing the guys all the time, and that happens unfortunately, but it does happen. But all the failed breaches, like anybody's ever been on a SWAT team or anything like that, like you can't get in every door,
right?
And so that's what I thought was pretty neat about the show is they didn't take the house down in 30 seconds because you can't take a house that big down in 30 seconds,
right? And
all the failed breaches and having to move to different breach points, that was very realistic, as far as the portrayal of that building.
Oh, sure. I called a buddy of mine that was in the Army, and he's done SOCOM work, and I asked him, I was like, what'd you think of the movie? He goes, same thing we've said. The build-up was like, but then the actually takedown of the house, he said it was dead on. He said that's exactly what happens. It's just like that. But Catherine Bigelow, she does a pretty good job with realism. Like she's the one that did Hurt Locker. I love that movie.
I actually trained Jeremy Renner for Hurt Locker.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sweet. Did he come to Tennessee? Did you go?
No, I went out to L.A. and we actually have become friends.
L.A.
And we've actually become friends, and he actually is a nice guy. Here's a funny story. I was out there a couple months ago, and just me and him went and rented a range and were shooting pistol, and half a dozen people came up while we were shooting asking to get pictures with me. People were asking Jeremy Renner to take a picture of me and them.
Jeremy was like, what's that, dude?
That's awesome.
I gotta say, I loved him in the Avengers.
Well, here's the thing.
Awesome.
He was in that Demand a Plan commercial.
Yeah.
And so everybody that knew I knew him was like yelling at me, rah, 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 tell him this and tell him that. Of course, I'm not going to, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. He's a gun guy, okay? And I don't know what the story was with that. But then my thing blew up. And he sent me a text. He said, "Oh, bro, I thought I caused a lot of problems."
He stirred the pot.
I said, "I hope you got half as much crap as I got."
You should have told him. You said, "Hey, I did that for your benefit to take the heat off you, brother."
Yeah. Hey, that's what you can claim now. Just say, "Hey, I did it."
I took one for you, buddy.
Well, it's funny, the timing when we were out there shooting pistols, NBC Nightline came out there and interviewed him on the range and interviewed me and stuff, but that was right before Sandy Hook, so that part didn't make it through the show.
Oh man,
wow,
that would be cool.
But he's a shooter. Don't Don't think he's not. That guy can shoot.
I mean, just looking at his fundamentals in a Hurt Locker, I mean, you watch some of these military movies sometimes, and you see the actors doing the weirdest stuff with, leaning back with the rifle like this.
You saw him in the Born
Legacy.
Legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was awesome in that.
He was good in that,
in Hurt Locker, a friend of mine, a former Navy SEAL named Ben Thomas, is the technical advisor. He's actually, there's one part where there's a medic working on Iraqi, and he's the medic.
Okay.
But he was just like a stand-in because they needed a guy.
Fill a spot.
But he was the technical advisor. And a lot of the gear you see, like the Cobra belts from SOE, Special Operations Equipment.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of SOE gear in the movie. So it's just kind of weird. You get a buddy in and then everybody's in, you know?
Yeah. Awesome.
Hey, we need some spots.
Tell us a little bit about tactical response.
Well,
a little bit more. We've talked a little bit about it.
Right. I started it in 1996, and you know, people are like, "Why did you do it? Why did you start it?" And I explain it like this: it's kind of like the old anti-drug commercial. There's a guy in a suit working at a desk, and he says, "I do cocaine so I can work longer hours, so I can make more money, so I can buy more cocaine." Well, that's why I started training. Basically, I mean, I was a cop. Cops don't get paid much, so my wife got my entire police check. And if I wanted to go shoot a competition or take a class or anything, I had to have a part-time job.
Sure.
And it became firearms training, and it just grew and grew. And then I got online on this thing called the internet in 1998, and that was it. I mean,
Gotcha.
it blew up.
Now, did you start with the actual trainings, or like the actual training class, or did you start with a blog, or did you start?
Oh no, training was first.
Okay. Gotcha.
Started that in '96, doing carry permits, and then people would say, "Well, do you know anything else?" Or do you? Oh, yeah, I can teach you some other stuff. And then I started getting calls from people in other towns and states and stuff
Right.
like that. And I wasn't even online. And then people started showing up. And go, yeah, I heard about you on Glock Talk,
Oh, wow.
or I heard about you on AR15.com. I'm like, what is this internet you speak of? and then, like I said, 98, boom, that was it.
And then y'all got a blog, getoffthex.com?
Getoffthex.com. We're pretty internet centric kind of a company. So I've got.
Y'all do YouTube videos?
yeah, we got to do YouTube. I don't know if you guys heard of that or not.
Place called YouTube.
but I have a podcast. I haven't done any podcasts in a while. We've got getoffthex.com. We've got tacticalresponse.com. We've got several Facebook pages for the company. I've got one personal Facebook page for James Yeager, and then a Tactical Response Facebook page. So we're pretty easy to find and
Gotcha.
And get and connect with.
And what are the different classes you have?
We got a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, just generically,
Good answer.
Generically, we've got handgun stuff. We've got shotgun, carbine stuff. When I say carbine, like semi-automatic rifle, kind of fighting rifle kind of stuff. And then we've got bolt gun stuff like sniper and precision rifle and stuff like that. So we cover the firearms gamut. What people ask us about all the time is, do we do knife classes? And I will never do a knife class. And anybody that does is really kind of silly. And what I mean by this is, with the stereotypical knife class where both guys have knives, when that really happens on the street, the winner is the guy that bleeds to death last. Now, if you want me to show you, if a guy pulls out a knife, how to run away, I'll do that. If you want me to show you how to shoot a dude that's got a knife, I'll do that. But we're not doing this knife to knife thing.
Gotcha. Fighting knife.
Like chicken fighting, right?
Right. But, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, certainly I'll answer a specific question about a class, but we do everything from individual person to team classes. Like, even if it's a husband and wife couple, we have a home defense class where they can learn to work as a team, all the way up to we've trained Special Forces A teams or people that take our high-risk civilian contractor series of classes, and it's about as high speed as you can get for a civilian. It's so high speed that military units come and take it because they can't train like that on their ranges.
I tell you, one of the favorite ones I've seen on some of the videos you've got is, I don't know what the class is called, but you're like in a big field, but you've got shoot houses set up. Uh-huh. I think you're using simunition. And you've got real-world scenarios. Like you're sitting in there, and then a guy comes up, he starts cussing and yelling and screaming, and you've got to do the right thing. Yeah. I'm not sure what that class is.
That class is called The Fight.
The Fight, okay.
And basically, it's the test. And what I mean by that, like fighting pistol is the lesson, and the fight is the test to see if you paid attention.
Gotcha.
And it's force on force. We use the paint marking rounds and guns that only fire paint marking rounds. But it's a real Glock 17.
Right.
And we put you in scenarios. About a third of the scenarios, you should not shoot anybody, but sometimes people do.
Right.
About a third, you should shoot somebody. And sometimes people don't. Yeah. And a third are about or choose your own ending. Depending on how you navigate and how you talk to the role players, you can turn it into a gunfight or talk them out of a gunfight.
I know when I first started watching that video, I was like, oh, this is cool. And it was just kind of like a lighthearted, oh, this is really neat. But the more you watch and you see the scenarios, it's intense.
Yeah.
I mean, like you start thinking, okay, if I'm in that scenario, I'm going to be freaking out.
Well, the whole, like when we open the class, we tell them we're going to put you in a series of legal, moral, and ethical dilemmas. All kinds of stuff. Like, are you gonna protect this third party person that you don't know from what looks like a violent crime? Are you going to protect a family member or a friend in this particular kind of incident? So we put folks under a lot of stress, and man, you want to talk about an adrenaline rush? Yeah,
I can imagine.
It's exciting.
Just watching it was an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
You can go to YouTube and you can look up the fight tactical response.
Just go ahead and look. Just go ahead and watch all my videos if you got a week.
Go ahead and subscribe. Talk a little bit about your facilities, your training facilities. How big are they?
Let me say this. I hear people talk about. They ask me all the time. Tell me about your facility. It doesn't really matter. Everybody's thinking about these huge like Blackwater type facilities and stuff like that, and you can't take that home with you. And so here's how I tell people about my. Tell me about your range. I got a flat spot with a hill, and we shoot into the hill. It's not really about that. And anybody that is trying to wow you with some huge facility, basically they got flash and they got no steak. They got sizzle and no steak, and we sell steak. And it's what you take home with you that really matters. And we have about an 85 or 90% return rate with students, so we're doing something right.
Yeah, I don't think I've met anyone yet that has taken your training and didn't like it. And I've met a few.
Listen, find somebody that says they didn't like my class and ask them if I gave them their money back, because I'll give somebody their money back if they don't like the class.
Wow.
And I've never had to refund anybody. And you can go to getoffthex.com and read tens of thousands of reviews of the classes. Find somebody that didn't like them. I'm not saying, I mean, we trained 4,213 people last year. I think one dude was mad at us.
And I've heard they're kind of like crack too. Very addictive.
Like I said, most people that take a class from us take other classes from us. And you guys are running out of excuses. I've already invited you to come to a class.
You're set.
You're close. I mean, I just drove up here, so I know you can drive down there.
How was it? Like 2 hours?
1 hour 45.
Oh, that's not bad.
Without weather.
Right.
Yeah, we're set up for the last week, and it's the last training in May.
It's going to be busy, man.
Yeah, it is. We're going to NRA.
You're going to NRA too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys can ride in the back of my truck.
We're going to be spending a lot of time together here next month. We got some big news tonight. And
we got an exclusive on
this is an exclusive, and you've held this for us.
I've literally
and we really appreciate it.
No joking. I have put Channel 4 out of Nashville on hold, CNN, CNBC, and WBBJ out of Jackson on hold to come here first.
Wow.
Awesome.
And talk about this.
Awesome.
And that's the truth. I really have.
This is awesome. And our lead heads are going to get to hear it first.
Yeah. So what would that news be?
Let us know the big news.
The General Sessions Court of Benton County saw fit to reinstate my carry permit last week.
Nice.
Yes.
And what's funny is I'm getting people are talking about, because like Tennessee carry permit's a privilege, and people are hammering me on YouTube saying it's a right. No, a Tennessee carry permit is a privilege. My Second Amendment is a right.
Right.
Okay. Article 4 of the Tennessee State Constitution is a right, but not a carry permit. And so I just it was a privilege. It was taken from me. It affected me about zero.
But obviously, they saw the error of their ways and what they did.
No. The state still doesn't want me to have it, but the judge saw otherwise.
Well, the judge let them see the error of their ways.
Right.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks. I appreciate it. And, no hard feelings, state of Tennessee. I think they did what they thought they needed to do. I'm not mad at anybody.
Or what they were pressured to do?
Well,
typically.
Listen, I know what I said. All they could do to me was take my permit. They couldn't arrest me. I didn't commit a crime. Couldn't take my driver's license. All they could do was take that. And
but they actually physically came and took it from you?
No. I just mailed it in.
Okay.
All the feds that I talked with were absolutely professional and very nice to me. They were so nice to me that when I walked out, I thought I was going to get arrested by the FBI HRT team, because they were like, "All right, we'll see you later. Okay, take care." And I was just expecting to get bum rushed when I got outside.
they were setting you up. Huh? It's a setup.
But really, they were absolutely professional, very nice to me, and they just wanted to make sure that I wasn't trying to overthrow the government and
just doing their jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And pros. I got nothing bad to say about them.
I wasn't aware of this, but was watching some of your videos the other day, and I noticed that you've got out some with the guys from Red Jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that experience. What was that all about?
Well, I'm friends with a guy that works there, and he said, "Hey, do you want to come down here and make some YouTube videos and shoot some machine guns?" And I thought, yes. And so I drove quickly. So I drove down there, and so I got a pretty neat series of YouTube videos with some pretty neat guns. But what I'll say is this: man, what a nice bunch of people. I mean, just really, really nice people, and you gotta forget what you see on TV. They're really just genuinely nice folks, and a lot of people are mad at them because they've ordered stuff and they hadn't got it, but they're just a victim of their own success. They've just exploded.
Sure.
Yeah. And anybody in their position is going to have the growing pains that they have, but but they're honest, hardworking folks that if you sat down and had lunch with any of them, you'd get up going, I like this. I like these people.
I always liked their show, but when they started, and I know it's not their fault because I've known a lot of people who have been in reality TV and they want to throw the drama in there. That's the stuff that's
let me say this. Let me say this. We need gun shows on TV, and the only way to get women watching is to put the drama in.
Yeah, you got a good point.
And
romance.
Well, yeah, it's got to be in there. It's got to be a soap opera.
Yeah.
It's got to be. And we want guns. All of us, we're on that same team. We all want guns to be more readily accepted, especially the kind of guns that they make down there, the weird machine guns and all that stuff. We want that stuff to be accepted. And I mean, look what they've done for suppressors. Now people know you can legally own suppressors because of Red Jacket,
and it doesn't make it go pew pew.
And suppressors are being sold now by every company that makes suppressors just like crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but also something I've noticed is they've got that internally suppressed AK that they make.
Oh man, yeah.
Did you get to shoot that one?
Yes,
I
did.
That one too?
And I'm getting one of those.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed that there's been a couple of people that have followed, and they're just making guns suppressed now instead of a whole separate piece, which makes sense.
Do you know why they're doing that?
Why they're doing that?
Right.
Well, one, it defeats the tax stamp.
Well, one tax stamp.
One instead of two, you only do one.
Yeah, that's the main reason.
I would think that. Why wouldn't you want one suppressed all the time anyway?
Right. Well, I mean, people worry about the suppressors wearing out or whatever, but guys that worry about stuff wearing out will never shoot enough to ever wear anything out.
Right.
That's a good point. But yeah, I mean, they've been pioneers on several things.
Yeah, that was the neatest thing that for me personally that I shot down there was the integrally suppressed AK. It was the out of all the stuff I shot and touched.
So you shot an old machine gun,
grease gun.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
It was awesome. I liked all of them. I mean, I'm a gun guy. I mean, they're like, here's a machine gun and free ammo. Or so
I like the story behind it. Was it Joe that was with you when you were shooting that one? And
he was Jacob on the grease gun.
Was it Jacob?
Yeah.
About how it's got a slower rate of fire.
Yeah.
But they did that
to save ammo.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was.
Well, it's also more shootable.
Yeah. More controllable.
Yeah. So it's just what a neat gun.
So what do you think about Joe? Is he the nerd?
I mean, he's a nice guy.
Yeah. Did you get to meet the whole gang?
Everybody. I mean, certainly all the TV folks, but there's a whole lot of people that work at Red Jacket.
There's got to be.
I was going to say, how big outfit are they?
It's big. They're growing like crazy.
And they got that Academy contract too,
right?
So that was huge.
Yeah, they just, like I said, blowing up. But they got a bunch of employees, and man, everybody's so nice down there. I want to give a shout out to Rebecca and Vanessa that work there in the office, to the hardest working women, the two hardest working people at Red Jacket, and they're great ladies. I just want to give them a shout out.
Cool,
awesome.
Are they ever on the show? Are they on any episodes? We ever get to see them?
And they probably wouldn't. Yeah. they're more of like behind the scenes, getting stuff done. Getting stuff done kind of people.
You mean so it's not like on the show where you walk through this little tiny place and that's the entrance?
Well, that does exist. That is,
Oh, wow.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
But then it opens up.
Well, they got several buildings beside them.
Okay.
So if you drove down there to where they were, they have a retail shop where you can buy T-shirts and all that stuff. Right. And Chris works in the back. I mean, there's people around there, but where they actually film and stuff, that's just in the back is guys chugging out materials and making suppressors and all that stuff. And they got the place up front that is literally Will's office, but that's not open to the public.
Very cool.
So people don't like in the show just wander in off the street, like.
No,
they've had a couple episodes where there's just some wackos walked in, some hillbilly is looking around at
Can you make that? this?
And they're giving them, what are you doing here kind of look.
Yeah.
That's staged.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that in particular, but I will tell you that you're probably not going to just walk into that place.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, they might have found that guy outside and said, "Hey, you, come here and go through that door and ask him something." You know? But anyway, overall, the experience was very positive. I really enjoyed meeting everybody. They're all really nice folks.
How long were you down there?
A few days, 3 days.
About 3 days.
So you got a pretty good amount of video in too, right?
Oh yeah, several.
Did they treat you to some good down home Cajun food?
They took me out to eat. Joe bought my dinner one night at a very nice restaurant.
Way to go, Joe!
but the food's great down there.
One of my favorite videos of yours, and it made me want to kick myself, is when you were talking about trucks for prepping and different situations you may run into, and you showed it's a Dodge, right? The Dodge Ram. It had those little compartments in the back. And I had just got my F-150. And I saw that. I was like, crap. I was like, I want those things.
I don't know what you're talking about. Tell me what is it?
Under the carpet in the back on the floorboards, there's on each side there's a compartment that's a pretty big compartment.
And it comes from the factory that way. He didn't have it made that way.
I mean, you could
cool storage kind of thing.
Yeah. And I keep a bottle of scotch, a bottle of whiskey, a bottle of tequila, and
he doesn't even drink,
and bourbon in there.
Because
I don't drink, but I do like to party.
So you bring the party with you.
Well, you never know.
There you go.
Well, I live in a almost dry county. We have beer sales, but not liquor sales and stuff like that.
Oh, really? Benton County doesn't have liquor?
Wow. But I travel all over the country, and I always carry a bottle of Jack with me. Tennessee.
Right.
Good trade material.
Well, in Iraq for a fifth of Jack, one of my teammates traded for a B&P, a tank, and had it delivered.
No way.
Oh yeah, and it's you can't drink over there. So the Army guys that drink, oh man, they got forklifts and all kinds of stuff.
Oh my gosh. For a bottle of Jack.
We're going to Iraq.
That's like,
we've got a bunch of listeners in Iraq.
When I go on vacation,
Salam Habibis.
We go to like the Dominican Republic or places like that. Always go to the dollar store before we head out, and you just get little dollar trinkets because you can take those things over there, and just like you're saying, you trade the whiskey for tanks. I mean, you can trade those things for their $100, $300, $400 items because they don't have die-cast cars and toys and stuff like that over there. So you get Cuban cigars, you trade for dollar earrings or something like that. Yeah, pretty cool.
This week's trivia. In the movie Face Off, what were the dual golden guns that Nicolas Cage used? Little hint.
Yeager's favorite guns in the whole wide world.
Spoiler alert.
We're going to actually have people go, they were golden Glock 19s.
Yeah, that's what they were.
EDC check. What you got?
Yeager.
Every week we do a EDC check.
Just guns, or are we talking about
everything?
I got Glock 26 on each ankle. Got a Glock 19 on my right hip. I have a spare mag for the 19 in my front left pocket, and a Milt Sparks holster, Surefire Lumimax in my back pocket, and
So
cold steel
dual ankle Glocks.
Okay, I quit.
And a cold steel pocket knife of some sort.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got my Glock 19.
That's all you're rocking today? You got no pocket knife?
No pocket knife.
No survival bracelet?
No survival. I've got my A10 Warthog rounds.
There you go.
Spent.
Spent. But hey.
You could still knock somebody over the head with those.
Oh, yeah, that'd hurt. Yeah. What about you? What you got?
I'll give you 3 guesses.
23?
First two don't count.
You're 23?
No, I got the 22. Glock 22 on the hip with the Crimson Trace.
Walther PPS on your ankle.
Walther PPS on the ankle.
And your knife.
And Dual Logic with
here we go.
Flashlight, sparkers, start fire, and
the rape whistle.
The rape whistle. I'm not going to blow it.
Thank God.
We actually had a guy in our Force on Force class blow a rape whistle, lift his mask up and blow a rape whistle. He's from New York, like literally.
Like quit? He quits? Is that like his surrender?
He was told if you get into an emergency situation. He literally, he was serious too. He was saying,
"No way." Did you send him back and
dude? No,
kick him out of class?
those are the people that need our help the most.
That's true. That's true.
I'm spoiled.
He blew a rape whistle.
Dude, I'm spoiled because
You got this intense situation. It's like, what do I do? Do I shoot him? Do I stab him? No, I'll blow my rape whistle.
Come save me, Yeager.
you guys will meet one of my instructors, Jay Gibson, when you come down. And Jay's just real mellow tone, real dry. And so Jay's like, yeah, we're doing the scenario, and I hear, and I look over, and he says, this dude's blowing. What the hell are you doing? And so when you
Does he have an asthma attack?
Just you got to remember when you meet Jay. You've got to remember to say, "Tell me about the rape whistle."
No,
I'm going to blow
You've got
mine.
to bring yours.
I'm gonna
Bring yours and blow
I'm
it.
just going to pull it out without blowing it.
Wait till you're on the firing line.
Yeah.
All right, the next drill.
That is awesome. So it's time for facts to fight the myths. So, Yeager, did you come up with one you want to use?
I thought Left Hand had one.
Oh, we all each of us do one, yeah.
If you want to do one.
Yeah, if you do.
And if it's one we've already done, that's fine. Go ahead and do it.
You guys go first. And
Okay.
then
All right, I'm going to... The myth that once you use a magazine, it's spent. And you can't reuse it again.
Throwback to our Jack Wagoneer of the week last week.
Exactly. Mrs. What was her name?
Diane.
I mean, she didn't even deserve to be remembered, but I'm going to...
Don't say her name. It gives her power.
Good point.
Okay. I think it's Diane something. But anyway, yes, in fact, you can reuse a magazine after you shoot the bullets out of it. The magazine is not a bullet. It is a device which holds and carries and moves bullets to their intended destination.
The magazine's not the ammunition?
The magazine's not the bullet, which is what she said. So
It's disposable.
So once you empty your magazine, don't throw it away, or you can send it to me if you want. That's fine. But you can reuse it.
We did start the Talking Lead Magazine Recycling Center. So all the people in Colorado that believed her, they can send it to Talking Lead.
www.talkingled.com.
And we'll share them with Tactical Response, too.
Oh, I've got plenty.
So, all right, who's next?
I'll go. People that think steel cased ammo is going to hurt their gun. I get this. I get this all the time, and I can explain it to you very simply. Anybody that studies engineering can back me up on this. The steel that the casings are made out of is a very soft, malleable steel, and it takes a steel of equal or more hardness to scratch another steel. I have shot literally bazillions of rounds of steel-cased ammo. My rental guns have shot bazillions of rounds of steel-cased ammo, never worn out a part, never worn out a barrel, never worn out an extractor, never worn out an ejector, never worn out any part. Once a year, my rental guns, we take the Glock 17s and 19s, we take them apart, clean them up, put a new recoil spring in, and put them back in service. And they shoot tons of steel ammo.
I was one of those that believed that until you educated me on that.
That's all right.
I think we had a discussion on that at the rally that day.
Yeah, there is one issue with steel-cased ammo in a gas impingement AR-15. The steel cases will get stuck. You shoot a bunch, and then basically the polymer kind of coats the chamber. You stop shooting, like to go load mags or drink water, and it cools off, and it glues that round
It's
in there.
sticky. Yeah.
Now, that round will shoot, but it won't extract, so you got to get a steel cleaning rod and jam it out.
Okay.
So if you're going to... And here's the thing is people don't believe me because they go out and they plink and just play around, and a case never gets stuck. But in our classes, we get the guns really hot. And most people have never got them that hot before. And so then they go, oh, and I go, yeah, I say this stuff for a reason. If you see it happen about a bazillion times, you can pretty much make a guess.
Right. Right. It's
That's a good one. Yeah, good myth.
Well, mine, I'm going to go on a little rant here. I had a little Twitter battle this week. One of the people we follow on Twitter, I think she's like a Fox News
Twaddle?
reporter.
Would that be a
Twaddle? A tweeter?
Twitter battle? Twaddle?
Twaddle. There you go. I had a twaddle. I think we just coined a new term. Got on there, and she said something to Piers Morgan. And she said something about guns, ammo, something. And he came out and said, I would say you're an idiot. So I got in there, and I said, Piers Morgan, why do you, every time you're
actually twitting with the twit?
Yeah, I twitted with the twit.
How do you know it was him?
He didn't respond back to me. It's verified.
Okay.
Verified. So he didn't tweet back to me, but I got on there and I said, Piers Morgan, why is it that every time you're backed into a corner in these arguments, you resort to calling people idiots, stupid, moronic? You just name call. I was like, it's ridiculous. Give us some facts to back what you got to say, or just don't have the argument. So this lady gets on there, and she goes into this tirade about banning guns, how it would stop all the violence. And I made a point, and this is kind of going to be my fact to fight the myth. The myth is we don't live in a utopian society. And she has this idea that if we get rid of all the guns, it will be peace and love all over the place.
Like there was before we had guns.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
With swords and knives and cannons.
Right. So,
trebuchets.
So I made the comment.
Bone arrows.
I told her, I said, look, if you can give me proof, hardcore, emphatic proof, I'll be the first to give up my defensive weapons, that we live in a utopian society, that everybody's nice, there's no more bad people. I'll give them all up. Because if you have proof, then there's no need for me to have defensive weapons. But you can't do that. We don't live in a utopian society. It's not going to happen. There's still bad people in this world. There are still people doing bad things. And yes, I'm going to continue to fight for my Second Amendment rights because it's not utopia.
Charles Darwin said it best. The strong will survive. Yeah, the strong always...
Survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest. The strong will always prevail.
Actually, the smartest always prevail.
Which that can be considered strength, too.
Okay, smartness is a strength. Yeah, but yes.
It's kind of... It's one of those things where, there's a lot of things that are great in theory. Yeah, it's a great, awesome thought to think that everything is perfect and it's a peaceful world and there's no bad people, but that's not the fact. It's not like that. So yes, we need defensive weapons. So that's my fact to fight the myth.
Well, I mean, just to add to that point, I was a cop for a long time, and cops show up just in time to write a report about what violent and terrible thing just happened before they got there.
Yeah,
it's not me being derogatory towards the police. There are bunches and bunches of cops that wish they could be there. They can't.
It's just the fact.
I've got a buddy of mine that's in a certain Bureau of Investigation, and he said that we are crime historians. We're not crime stoppers.
Right.
They show up and they do the history of it and they figure out who did it, but they don't show up in time to stop anything. So we've got some listener feedback. You want to take the first one, Left Hand?
David C. on Facebook writes,
talk about that picture he posts.
He's the one with the toilet flush pic. You guys are doing a great job. I really liked the tactical episode with Sam and Matt, the two Green Berets from Palisade Tactical. After listening to the beauty pageant, I was reminded of how appropriate and often we have Piers Morgans in our lives and thought of this slogan.
Now, when he says that, I don't think he's referring to people. I think he's referring to certain things you do on a daily basis. Some people it takes a few days, but
yeah, some people
I'm pretty
take laxatives to help along with their Piers Morgan. Yeah, that
instead of a PM, it's a PM.
Yeah, that's right. He goes on to say that being said, I must give this disclaimer, and you got to go to our Facebook page and look at David C's posting.
Basically, he took a picture of a toilet flushing and said, let's stop the British invasion one Piers Morgan at a time.
Yeah. No Piers Morgans were actually harmed in the making of this photo, and the Piers Morgan receptacle in the photo remains the property of NBC, Universal, and Universal Studios Hollywood, although the intellectual property of the photo is all mine. LOL.
Can I say something about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Piers Morgan is English. Okay, a Scot, an Irishman, or a Welshman would not want to have a beer with him. So when you say British, it puts them all.
There are Englishmen that do not want to have beers with him.
It puts them all in the same class.
Yeah, because they're all British.
And just a Scotsman, an Irishman, a Welshman would very quickly tell you that he's an Englishman.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But that's the thing too, is even the English don't want him. They don't want to claim him. Yeah.
I think
a man without a country.
I think the thing that
so
made
he's got
me
to come here and try to ruin ours.
I think the thing that made me most disgusted with him was when Ben Shapiro was on the show and they were debating the Second Amendment. Piers Morgan got mad because he was backed into the corner like he always does. He gets mad, starts name calling, and he picks up the Constitution and he said, "You come in here waving your little fancy book around." And the guy goes, "That's the Constitution of the United States." "I know what the Constitution is." And he's like flopping around. I lost it. I was like, I wanted to debate him, but then I'm like, if he would have done that to me.
Is that the one where his whole argument was, tell me why you need an assault
Yes,
rifle.
yes, that's
Tell
the
me
one.
why you need an assault rifle. And then the guy flat out told him to protect myself against a tyrannical government.
Yep. Well, it goes back to a video we're going to be releasing soon once we finish recording the first part of it. The Second Amendment is not about...
Did we tell you he's got ADD?
Dude, I've got it bad.
Oh, my gosh. I'm horrible. So you've got the Second Amendment. People say that it's about hunting. No, it's not about hunting. It's about sport shooting. No, it's not about sport shooting. It's not even technically about self-defense, except for against a tyrannical government. And it's basically, back then they said, you represent the government, and he represents the citizen. If you get a musket, he gets a musket. Okay, you get a shotgun, he gets a shotgun. You get an AR, he gets an AR. That's what it's all about. I mean, it's just... It's
keep
that
a level
simple.
playing field that no one government entity becomes stronger than,
or not even.
Well, here now, I'm going to go a little bit further with it, and some people kind of cringe when I say this. I think that citizens should be allowed everything that an infantryman is allowed, and that up to and including machine guns and hand grenades. Mm. And this is where some people cringe or whatever. But whatever the infantryman gets is what Americans should be allowed to have. And it does not include nuclear missiles or F-16s or
drones
or drones or surface-to-air missiles, but it does include machine guns and hand grenades.
Sure, I agree. And as long as they're properly trained, go for it.
Listen, I'm a trainer.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that training should be mandatory for a constitutional right.
Really? On like grenades?
Listen, I'm a trainer. I get paid to train people. That should tell you.
Just common sense, though. You think they would want to get trained on it. Yeah.
Here's the thing with a hand grenade: throw it really far.
Yeah. But you got these idiots. Of course, this goes back to my Darwin analogy. You got these idiots that'll pull it and they'll sit there and hold it until it goes off but then it goes, survival of the fittest.
The Darwin Awards.
Okay, maybe we can back up on the hand grenades, but
what about claymores?
Well,
claymores would be awesome. I hate the nuclear weapon argument because it's so ridiculous because it's not a defensive weapon. If we have a machine gun and we're properly aiming it, we can take out who we need to take out.
Right.
If you set off a nuke, you're going to take out the entire city of Nashville.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's the dumbest argument that anybody ever used.
Well,
should nuclear weapons be?
But listen, the right does that too.
Yeah,
because I'm very libertarian in my views, and this might be too controversial for you guys, but I think that gays should be allowed to be married. And when the right starts talking about, well, the next thing is they're going to be marrying animals. Like the right does the same. The right does the same silly stuff the left does. Okay, and I'm like, no, animals is different. Animal doesn't have a choice in the matter. Okay, but anyway, so
your point is the extremists. People try to defend the
stupid stuff on both ends of it.
So we've got some iTunes reviews, and I've got a little beef with iTunes right now. We are getting more and more downloads every show, exponentially more. We are getting more reviews. We're getting more views on iTunes, and all of a sudden, we've dropped out of the top 200 outdoor podcast. We were holding our own top 10 for months.
Maybe everybody's just gotten better than you.
Ooh, that could be true.
Or maybe we've gotten worse.
I don't know. All our numbers are going up. All the reviews, we're still rated 5-star.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I
don't know
all
what
that
to do.
stuff. I don't watch numbers.
It's interesting.
I could care less where we're at on the charts.
I could go in some gun podcast conspiracy theories, but then everybody else in our network is up at the top 20. So
I think Jake,
we just need to podcast harder.
I think Jake had something to do with it. He was tired of us outperforming him. I think he slid iTunes a bribe or something.
I don't like to brag, but I believe this interview is going to put you over the top.
Attaboy. Yeah, there you go. I think it will too.
Yeah, it's been a good one.
Somehow I think it will.
So we got 2 new iTunes reviews. First one says, long-time listener. Just kidding. 5 stars by Big Dog AM. He says, great show. I've heard all the episodes since the beginning, and they have been great. Keep up the great job. The second one, this has been my favorite iTunes review to date. Because this guy, when we first started, he gave us some, we asked everybody, if you don't like something we're doing, give us some constructive criticism. We're doing it for the fans, so, tell us. And he was one of the ones that gave us constructive.
Never do that again.
It worked.
Never do it again.
So we kind of took some of advice, and he's now giving us good ones. It says, "Rock My Face Off," 5 stars by Lodge 12. You guys rock my face off. Best gun podcast going right now. AR pageant was cool. Can't wait for the 1911 pageant. You know, Yeager's going to enter in that one too.
I mean,
We're going to do a Glock pageant.
I own 0 1911s.
We're going to do a Glock pageant. Just which one's cleanest?
Let me give you guys let me give you guys some advice as far as this criticisms go. If you listen to the people in the sidelines, that's where you're going to wind up sitting.
Good point.
Well, and it's
some
a
of them
point that I
haven't been
make
the
to him
greatest
every time too.
advice.
Is we started this show for us.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm in it. I'm in it for me. I mean, I like to hear what people have to say, but ultimately, I still
Dude, run your game.
That's right. It's our game, and we're going to run it how we see fit. But
If you got good
I think a
advice,
lot of
we'll
people
use
have
it,
the
but
same
if
interest
it's
that
garbage,
we have.
then we'll-
That we have, and that's why
Well, that's what we said in the
It is
first show.
catching
We're
on,
like,
so.
if you got good advice, we'll take it. If it's crap advice, we'll say it's crap advice.
it still may be good advice, but it may not be for us.
We took his.
Yeah.
You guys need scripts.
Nah. Nah.
Aren't you on the sideline over there?
No scripts. So that's it.
Scripts are
So
for amateurs.
You got anything you want to plug, Yeager?
Man, we've got there's going to be a whole lot heavier concentration of force on force classes with the new facility starting next month. But there's so many places to train right now. Go train somewhere, and especially if you've had 0 classes, your level of knowledge and skill is going to increase dramatically going from 0 to 1 class. I don't care who you take it with. There's a bunch of great guys doing a bunch of great stuff right now. This is like the Renaissance period of tactical training. I believe history will look back on that, on this era that way. But train somewhere. If you want to come train a tactical response, we'd love to have you, but train somewhere.
If you haven't taken a training yet, quit buying guns and put that money towards a training.
There's 2 things that bother me about gun guys. They always got money for another gun, but they never have money for a safe or a training class, and they bother me.
Or ammo.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they got guns and they don't have ammo for them.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to my ethos, is what he's saying, is the train, the maintain, the restrain, and the retain.
No.
We did a show on that.
Well, I've got a YouTube video about the types of gun owners.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are collectors, and you just need to accept that.
Yeah.
It could be stamps or rocks or anything, and they just happen to be guns for them.
Your Facebook page is just...
James Yeager of Tactical Response.
Okay. And YouTube is just James Yeager, right?
Yeah, you just type in James Yeager, and you'll get all kinds of stuff.
And then the website's tacticalresponse.com.
That's it.
And getofthex.com.
Is our blog. Yeah.
And for us, YouTube, just search Talking Lead, one word. Facebook, Talking Lead. Twitter, @TalkingLead. And our website is www.talkingled.com. And don't forget to check out everybody else on the Firearms Radio network. It's firearmsradio.tv.
And also, all of us have the NRA convention coming up. So if any of our lead heads are out there, tactical response fans, come out, see us at the show.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a meet and greet Saturday night. The location has not been determined yet, but it's going to be Saturday night at 8. If you'd like to be a part of that, just send us an email, talkingled@gmail.com, or Facebook or Twitter. Get it to us.
You going to come hang out with us that night?
Yeah, I don't know exactly if it's one of the events I'm supposed to go to, but I'll try to get by there regardless.
Okay.
But one thing I want to say to any of my fans that might be at the show, I get emails and calls and messages on Facebook all the time that say, I wish I would have gotten a picture with you. It doesn't bother me for people to get pictures with me at all. It doesn't hinder my day at all. I'm still kind of taken aback by that somebody actually wants their picture with me. But if you're one of those people that bumps up to me and wants a picture, please take the time to get the picture. If you got a camera, I got a face, we can make it happen.
And as always, left hand, keep your loved ones close.
And keep your firearms closer.